Hey guys, I'm Azra, and in this Lord of the Rings Rise to War video, I will show you the meta build of the Witch King. Let's get going. So first things first, let's first establish what type of commander Witch King is. And here you see he is considered a leader type commander, which means he has a bigger army than non-leader commanders. And this is great because this works just fine with his title and his skills. Now moving on to his attributes, we see that his strongest attribute is strength. Then he also has some decent amount of focus, but his second strongest attribute is speed. And this will be important later in the itemization part. Let's just keep this in mind. Now let's have a look at his skill tree and see why his meta build is so strong. His meta build evolves around his respect level 0 title Black Captain and all the skills associated to it, as well as his respect level 3 title Ringwraith and also his Nazgul Speech here. Now let me explain why his skills are so great. Black Captain is boosting the damage of your army by a certain percentage, and also once you have maxed out it gives them a bit more HP. And then we have Convener. Convener isn't just giving you initiative, which means you get to hit first, which is always great, but you also have a chance, like all of your units have a 75% chance once you have maxed this out to strike twice in the first and second round. And this is so nice to have. On top of that we have Ringwraith, and Ringwraith is increasing the elemental damage the enemy army is receiving, which is also nice to have. On top of that, in the first round you stun 2 enemy units, which means the enemy units aren't just receiving a lot of damage, they can't even retaliate. And once you have maxed these talents out, you also have this skill here called Morgul Commander. This is mitigating the damage your army is receiving, which is always nice to have. And then you also have some talents left, which you can then put into Lord of the Nazgul. And that will take care of commanders who are dealing high commander damage, because you will then mitigate their damage. And this is why the Witch King is so great. He is taking care of so many things at once. Now let me show you how you would be speccing your Witch King once you get him on respect level 3. First you would like to max out the Black Captain. Like this, you would be going back and forth between Convener and Black Captain. Like this, you go back and forth. But let me just speed things up for this video. Once you have maxed out these 2 skills here, you would be moving over to the Ringwraith, and now you do the same. You move back and forth between Ringwraith and the Nazgul Screech. Put 2 points here, 1 here. Do the same thing again, back and forth until we have maxed out both. Once you have maxed out both, we now move over to Morgul Commander, because we would like to mitigate the damage we receive. Since our army isn't that strong, they are kind of like the glass cannons, and this will help them at least survive a bit of the damage. And whatever points you have left now, I would put them all into Lord of the Nazgul, because troop boosting commanders are in general weak against high commander damage, and this will help and take care of that. And this, ladies and gentlemen, would be your meta build Witch King, and it is working out great. Let's recap why he is so strong. He's boosting his army's damage, he's giving them initiative like first strike, and also a chance to strike twice in the first round. And then he is even further increasing the elemental damage the enemy army is receiving. And then he is stunning them so they can retaliate while they are eating a damage over time focus effect. And then you further decrease the damage the enemy commander can deal. And this is why he is so great. But he also has weaknesses. The Witch King's weakness is obviously High Alert or Fire Protection, because we are specialized in dealing fire damage, but that can be shut down with High Alert or Fire Protection. The Superior Hauberk has Fire Protection. It is kinda hard to get by for the good side faction, but once they get a hold of it, man, that counters the Witch King so hard. The second weakness of the Witch King is obviously Madness, because the Witch King is running a 3-unit army, being Corsairs, Alchemists, and Berserkers. And they are affected by Madness. They obviously hit themselves and that's not great. The third weakness of the Witch King is stun, because we would like to go crazy, we would like to burst in the very first rounds, because we have Convener. But we can't burst if we are stunned. And commanders like Gandalf the Grey, they do have stun in the first round, and that's where we have to be careful. That's why we need to equip something to nullify that weakness of ours, but I will show you that in the itemization part. Our last weakness is avoidance. Like elven units like to evade a lot, or items that give the special effect evade are what we don't like, because that is working against our Convener. We would like to hit hard and burst hard in the first rounds. We can't do that when the enemy is evading, right? So there are still some items that can nullify evade. And that's something I would like to show you in the itemization part, which we are entering right now. Just as always, I will be starting with the blue gear. If you are playing the Witch King on a budget and you don't have any better gear, these are the best blue pieces I have found. It is just uncomplicated, guys. Broad axe, lots of might, plus attack, always nice to have, as well as melee might. The rough blast plate, again, same logic, lots of might. You give your squishy melee units at least a bit of defense, and also melee vigor to even further increase their survivability. The same logic is applied to the old cask, lots of might, as well as melee vigor once more. More importantly, let's have a look at the purple gear. So here we are, and in my opinion, this purple gear is the best he can equip. Let's see why. The Cutlass, lots of might, his main attribute, and speed, his second strongest attribute, followed by plus attack, always nice to have for the Witch King, and of course melee might. Our troops consist of only melee troops. I think there's nothing better than the Cutlass in regards to purple weapons for the Witch King. Moving along with the superior halberd, we see that this item might be strengthened and refined 4 times, but that's not the point of this. Point is, again, lots of might, lots of defenses for your army in general, and then you get to choose between 2 special effects. You could be going with melee vigor to overall decrease the damage your troops are receiving, or you might be going with something more risky but which can be a better return of investment with a shroud. Because if you haven't maxed this out, it is a 10% chance to evade the first instance of damage, but once you have maxed this out, like refined it 5 times, you will get a 60% chance to evade the first instance of damage for 3 allied units. This is so nice to have, especially if we consider the fact that good side isn't really equipping any items to counter evade. That's something that the evil side is more specialized in, but I like the idea of having Shroud, because then your army damage scales even better if this procs for you. You might argue that you can be countered with Pursuit. Yeah, it is what it is, but that's totally up to you. Would you like to go with melee vigor or take a risk but scale better? Then go with Shroud. Moving along with their Horseman's Helmet, now here we see again might and speed stat accompanied. Defense for mounted units, yeah, unfortunately that is something we can't get any value out of, but we are equipping this helmet because the special effect warding. We need the stun immunity. If you have maxed this effect out, it will be 100% stun immunity. And we need it, or else our Convener, our burst opener, will be countered by Gandalf the Grey, for example. We don't want that to happen. That's shutting down our skill set. You also have another option, which is like going with the special effect Resolve. If you're on a non-role-playing server, you might equip this against Saurons, because Sauron's giving us madness, and madness is also a weakness of the Witch King. As an accessory, I have decided to go with Drums of Moria, because this is the most aggressive purple trinket you can equip. There isn't really anything else to choose for the Witch King. And yeah, as a special effect, Haste of Soldiers, always nice to have because our melee units are very slow. Having a look at our golden gear in regards to our weapons, I have decided to go with either the Reckoning Sword or the Gigantic Hammer here. The Reckoning Sword, yet again, lots of might, lots of speed, and is giving our Orcs, Urukai, and Evil Men plus attack. also accompanied by the special effect Might of Soldiers. Perfect stats overall. Then you might argue, hey, which one is better? Is it Reckoning or maybe the Gigantic Hammer? Maybe the Gigantic Hammer is even better because it has even more might and even more plus attack. And I'm not sure which one is better, but I think the Gigantic Hammer might be better for the Witch King. This will work so great with Convener, with his damage boosting abilities. And now you have to choose between two special effects. First one being Rend. Allied army physical damage ignores if you have maxes out 80% of the target's defense. Now that special effect would work out if you have the Witch King on respect level 0 and you are going with this respect level 0 titles and skills, because then you aren't doing elemental damage. Elemental damage is his respect level 3 skill, but also for respect level 5 skill set. But that's a topic for another video. But the Gigantic Hammer can facilitate that. Then we also have Giant's Power. This is giving just your large units plus attack. For your Mountain Trolls, for example. This is also nice to have. I can't promise which one is better, like Reckoning or Gigantic Hammer, but I think going with either of these, you won't be doing anything wrong. Looking at his armor pieces, we see I have listed 2 chest plates here. The first one being Warworn Battle Plate, and I think this is the best golden gear for him. Now, let's establish why. Lots of might, which is nice to have. Decent amount of defensive stats for your melee units, which is also nice because they are squishy. Top of that, this is giving you speed for your melee units, and they are very slow. This will take care of that. But above all, it has strength from dexterity. Remember when I said that our first strongest stat is might, and then followed by speed? This will increase your might depending on how much speed you have, which means in the end you will have a ton of might. The more might you have, the more damage your army is dealing. And I think this is just so nice that we can't say no to this. Now, you get to choose. Do you want to be aggressive? Then go with Strength from Dexterity as a special effect. But you also have a second option, which is Fortitude of Soldiers. If you think, hey, you need some more damage mitigation, that's also an option. If you don't have the Warworn Battle Plate, you can also go with the Berserker's Raiment. I think this is overall very nice to have, lots of might. This is also giving your Urukais a bit of HP. Your Alchemists and your Berserkers are Urukais, so they will get more HP, which will make them last longer in the fight. Now you get to choose between 3 special effects, and I'm not sure which one will scale better in the end game, but feel free to experiment with either Resilience of Urukai to increase your defensive stats. Keep in mind that your defensive stats are mitigating physical damage, not elemental damage. Good side, in general, is dealing more physical damage. You aren't that afraid of focus damage. Yes, Galadriel can deal lots of focus damage. Keep that in mind while you're choosing a special effect here. Now, Fortitude of Urukai is mitigating the damage your Urukais are receiving in general. This is also mitigating focus damage as well. Keep that in mind, not just only physical damage. Then we also have the possibility of going with the Slave of Vulnerability. First 2 rounds against all enemies, defense minus 35% if you have maxed this out. I think this flavor works better in regards to the Witch King's Respect 0 build, because that's where you don't deal elemental damage, and that would work with this flavor. Also with a Respect 5 build, that would come in handy. Now as a helmet, we really don't have another choice than this. Cask of the Submerged Isle is the best helmet you can have in regards to golden gear, because this is covering our 2 weaknesses. First one being us being victim to stun. Second weakness, of course, madness. If you have maxes out, it is 100% resistance against madness and stun for the first round. There isn't any helmet that is better than this. If you have a look at his accessories, we now have to choose between 3 or maybe even 2 trinkets. The first trinket being Orphan's Delivery. I think this is a must-have for him, because this is giving you Opportune Strike as a flavor. Opportune Strike gives your allied units a certain percentage chance of causing maximum damage. Once you have maxes out, it is 100%. And your Alchemists and Corsairs go crazy with the fire damage that is scaling with this. This is such a bursty Witch King. If you want your Witch King bursty, go with Orphan's Delivery. But if you're afraid of commanders who have evade for their elvish units, like Gilgalad, or elves in general who evade, you have to go with Palantir of Orphanc, because this has the flavor tactical mark. And also Palantir of Orphanc has a bit of might, and it has plus attack. I'm not sure which one is better in the end game. I think both are very decent, Orphan's Delivery or Palantir of Orphanc. Pick whatever you prefer. I think I will be going with Palantir of Orphanc, since that's what I already have as my items, and I'm just waiting for tactical mark to drop to refine it. And the third option, which shouldn't be underestimated, is the Box of Knowledge. It is kinda sad that you need to refine it a lot, because then you get a return of investment of this, but once you have refined the Box of Knowledge 5 times, you will get a chance, like here, this flavor, Lore of the Arcane, Leader, commander units, each effect, each round, 60% chance for the following effects to be triggered. Physical damage received -9%, which is nice, but deals highest damage when attacking. So this might not be that great like the Orphan's Delivery, but if you still don't have these items here because they never dropped for you, and you only have the Box of Knowledge, that's fine. You can make use of the Box of Knowledge too with Lore of the Arcane Leader. Now if we look at the special effect of this helmet, we see that it has 3 features built into it. The first one being Focus. When this reaches 200, each round allied units get a certain percentage chance of causing maximum damage. Now I haven't refined this yet, but I assume that the more you refine it, this special effect stacked by 5% whenever you refine it. Like 5 times refined should mean that this will have a chance of causing maximum damage by 25%, which means that you have a weak version of Orphan's Delivery built into this helmet. Alright, 25% to cause maximum damage is a decent number, but let's have a look at his second feature, which is Might reaches 300, because then allied units' first damage dealt is increased by 16% if you haven't maxed it out at all. But if you have maxed it out, it will mean that you will deal even more burst damage with your convener in the first 2 rounds. This is so nice to have. Like, this is scaring me. But on top of that, the third feature is Speed reaches 350. Each round allied units get a 3% chance of receiving follow-up. So your convener isn't just convener for the first 2 rounds. You now have this for the rest of the fight, for the 10 whole rounds. If you have refined this weapon 0, it is just a 3% chance. Now if you have refined it 5 times, you will get a 15% chance of gaining follow-up for all your units for the 10 rounds. Now let's have a look and see if the Witch King can reach speed 350 by just equipping this purple gear pieces. I have decided to go with these purple gear pieces because they give us the most amount of speed. So here we have the Cutlass maxed out, the Scout's Mail maxed out, as well as the Drums of Moria. If we equip these pieces with the Crown of Angmar, we see that here, and by the way, these stats to the bottom are the stats of the Witch King with 0 gear equipped. And at the top is the value once he equips all of these pieces. And you see that he reaches only 312 might. That is enough to have this special effect proc, like might reaches 300. That's working, okay. His focus stat is also working because we have reached at least 200. Alright, that's working too, nice. But what isn't working with this purple gear, and this is the best purple gear in regards to speed, we are far away from reaching 350 speed to make this third ability work. So I'm not sure if the developers are aware of that. Even if we were to spec into his Respect 5 title, where he gets additional 45 attributes to speed as well as might, we are still not reaching 350 speed. So we can't get full value out of Crown of Angmar. and I'm not aware if the game developers are aware of this problem. So either this needs to change, like they need to change the threshold, lowering it from 350 to let's say 320 or 300, then it would work. Or we just need better purple items with much more speed to make this work. What I'm trying to say is, with your purple gear, you can't get enough speed to make this special effect work. Let's see if this is still the case with the golden gear, like best golden gear with highest speed stat. So in order to get the highest amount of speed with golden gear, I have chosen Reckoning because there isn't anything else to choose, as well as Ranger's Shroud. And then we still have to go with Drums of Moria because there isn't any golden accessories that gives us more speed than this. And even then, look at the attributes. We still don't have enough speed to unlock the last feature of this helmet. It's not enough. Not even if we pick the Respect 5 title. We would be getting plus 45 speed with that title's attributes, but that's still not enough. Game developers, I just wanted to put this out. Maybe it is just me, but it has come to my attention that the Crown of Angmar isn't working like that. Like, we can't unlock the third feature. As things are right now, I don't think that you as a player should be investing into the Crown of Angmar. It is kind of destroying the harmony we have with our best in slot gear, and we don't have the right stats anyway to get the full value out of this crown with its special effects. You only unlock 2 special effects, and I'm not sure if those 2, like Focus reaches 200 and Might reaches 300, are enough to say, hey, that's working out. I think just not worth enough, because Cask of Submerged Isle is taking care of 2 of the Witch King's biggest weaknesses, being stun and madness. So right now, I'm not recommending to anyone to invest into the Crown of Angmar. It's just not worth it, guys. Let me also show you how you would build your troop composition, which looks pretty much like this. The point being is that you would like to have as many alchemists as you can have in your composition, but also accompanied by some berserkers as well as some corsairs. Meta build Witch King is facilitating elemental damage. In this case, it is fire damage. Alchemists and corsairs will be dealing a big chunk of your damage, but mainly your alchemists. They are your secret weapon here, but you also have some berserkers for your convener as well. They are great in dealing lots of damage in the very first round. That's just working nicely with convener. If you don't like being a glass cannon, like going completely offensive, you can also go something like this. Some mountain trolls, and then you still pick your alchemist as well as corsairs, because fire damage, that's what you're going to be dealing. And that's it, guys. This is pretty much meta build Witch King. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a like and consider subscribing. I see you guys next time.